So, hello student, welcome to TI BSc Chemistry. So, we have started with Unit 1 and we have finished Chapter 1 in Unit 1, and today we are going to start Chapter 2, and the name of that chapter is Routes of Drug Administration and Dosage Form. So, what is dose? So dose is the appropriate amount of drug needed to produce a certain degree of response in a patient. So dose is nothing but it is an appropriate amount of drug needed to produce a certain degree of response in a patient, that is called as dose. So most of the drug can be administered by a variety of routes. The choice of an appropriate route in a given situation depend on both the drug as well as patient related factors. Mostly common sense consideration, feasibility and convenience dictate the which route to be used. The next point that we are going to learn is what are the factors that governs the choice of a route. So in that, the first factor is physical and chemical properties of the drug, like solid, liquid, gas, solubility, stability, pH and irritancy. So if we are to understand this, so if your drug is in a solid form or liquid form, so that the physical properties of the drug like solid, liquid, that factor affect which route you have to go for, or that factor or the, or you can say that this chemical properties of the drug governs the choice of a route. Then again your solubility, stability, pH and irritancy, this also governs the which route you have to choose. The next point that governs the choice of a route is site of desired action, whether localized and approachable or generalized and unapproachable. So site of action, whether it is localized and unapproachable, or generalized and unapproachable. So this also governs the choice of a route. Then third point is rate of absorption of drug from various route. So we are taking the route by various route like parenteral, oral, topical, subcutaneous, nasal route and your rectal route. So the rate of absorption. So the rate of absorption is depending upon which route you are taking the drug. So this also affect the this is also one of the factors that governs the choice of a route. The next point is effect of digestive juices on drug metabolism. So your intestine having different enzyme and digestive juices that affect the metabolism process of a drug. So these factors also affect the by your which route you are going to take that drug, by oral route or a topical route or a nasal route or a rectal route. Then the next point is rapidity with which the response is desired. So here the point is the rapidity with which the response is desired. So at what speed you are getting that effect, or at what speed your drug is showing effect, so that also governs the choice of a route. Then the next point is accuracy and dosage desired. So accuracy of dose also governs the choice of a route. Then the next point is condition of the patient. So if your patient is uncooperative and uncautious, so that time that this the condition of the patient, this also affect the choice of a route. So these are the 7 factors that affect the choice of a route. First one is physical and chemical properties of the drug like solid, liquid, gas, stability, solubility, pH and irritancy, then site of desired action, whether localized and approachable or generalized and unapproachable. Then the next point, third point is rate of absorption of drug from various routes. Then fourth one is effect of digestive juices on drug metabolism. Then rapidity with which the response is desired. And the next point is accuracy of dosage desired and the condition of the patient. So these are the 7 factors that governs the choice of a route. Then the next point is routes of drug administration. So there are 4 to 5 routes are there by which you can take the drug. So first one is oral route. So you can take the drug by oral route or inhalation. Then second one is parenteral route. In parenteral route you are taking the drug by using injection or a IV or a IM or SC. Then the next route is topical route. So in topical route you are simply, if you have cream, so you are directly applying on your skin and it can absorb by your skin. Then the next is subcutaneous route. So in subcutaneous route you are taking the drug by directly injection, then the next one is nasal route. So in nasal route you are taking the drug by your nose. So directly the whatever the wires are there, that directly inserted in your nose, and the drug can be supplied through your nose, that is called as nasal route. Then the next one is rectal route. So by this route also you can the doctor or the doctor can give you the drug by this route, that is rectal route. So these are the image of that, so you can easily understand that. So these are the tablet or the pills you can take by using oral route. Then nasal route by nose. Intravenous route, you are taking the drug directly into the veins. Then ocular drug delivery, transdermal diffusion. So these are the routes of administration: parenteral route, oral route. In oral route you are directly taking the drug in your mouth cavity. Then topical route on a skin, subcutaneous route by injection into the skin. Then your nasal route, then rectal route. So these are the this is the image, so you can easily understand. Intramuscular or intravenous. So by IV you can directly take the drug by this intravenous. Then subcutaneous route. So depending upon the this how you are taking that injection. So this subcutaneous route is there. Then your rectal route, sublingual route, intrathecal route, transdermal route. So we'll see first, that is oral route of administration in detail. So it is the most commonly employed route of drug administration. So mostly we all are taking drug by oral route or a mouth cavity. The drug, whether liquid or solid preparation, is placed in a mouth cavity and it chewed or swallowed along with a liquid like water or a milk. So we can take the drug directly into our mouth, whether it is solid or liquid. So we can directly take that drug into our mouth cavity. If it is solid is there, so we have to place that tablet or pills in your mouth, and we have to swallow that with water or a milk. So this is the image how we are taking that drug by oral route. You can easily understand that. Then what are the advantages of this oral route of administration? So this oral route is more convenient and does not require assistance. So this oral route of administration is more convenient and you don't need any assistant to take that drug in your mouth. So it does not require any assistant. you can singly take that drug. You don't need any friend or your doctor to help you. So this method is more convenient and does not require assistance. Then the second advantage is it is painless and medication need not to be sterile. So this oral route of administration is painless. So you won't feel any pain. So it's a painless and medication need not to be sterile. So before taking the drug, you don't have to, or before taking any drug or medicine, you don't have to sterile that. You can directly take that drug. So sterilization process is not there in oral route of administration. Then the third point is it is economic. Solid and liquid dosage form can be given orally. So this process is economic, both solid as well as liquid dosage form you can take orally. So these are the three advantages of oral route of administration. So first one is more convenient and does not require assistance. It is painless and medication need not to be sterile. It is economic and it is economic. Solid and liquid dosage form can be given orally. And the next point is what are the disadvantages of this oral route of administration. So there are some disadvantages. So we'll see one by one. So the first one is the onset of drug action is slow, therefore not suitable during emergency. So by this oral route, the action shown by the drug is very slow. So this oral route of administration we can't use during emergency like accident or the person having very serious condition. So that time we can't use this oral route of administration because the action is very slow. Then the next second point is irritant and unpalatable drugs cannot be administered by this route. So if drug is irritant and unpalatable, so that time it cannot be administered by this route. So this is one of the disadvantages of this oral route of administration. So if your drug is irritant and unpalatable, so we can't take that drug by oral route of administration. Then third point is the route may not be useful in presence of vomiting and diarrhea. So this route we can't use this route if the person having vomiting and diarrhea problem. So this is the one of the disadvantage of this oral route. So we can't use this in presence of vomiting and diarrhea. Then the fourth one is cannot be used for uncooperative and uncautious patient. If the patient is uncooperative and uncautious, so that time this route is not suitable because we can't give that drug to that patient by oral route because that person is not cooperating with us, and if it is uncautious, so we can't give it orally. So this is one of the disadvantage of this oral route. Then the next one is certain drugs are not absorbed by this route like streptomycin. So streptomycin is one of the antibiotics, so that this drug is not absorbed by this oral route. So this is one of the disadvantage of this oral route. So this streptomycin we can't take this drug by oral route. Then the next point is drug absorbed from stomach and intestine have to pass through liver and may get deactivated in the liver before reaching the site of action. So when you take that drug by oral route, first it goes into intestine, and in intestine first that drug have to pass through the liver. So what happens, sometime your drug may deactivated in your liver before reaching to the site where the desired action is required. So this is one of the main disadvantage of this oral route because it have to pass through the liver, and in liver different types of enzymes are there. So in that enzyme, that enzyme may deactivate that drug before reaching the site of action. So it because your drug is inactivated before showing its action, so that's why that's why this is one of the disadvantages of this oral route of administration. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 root of disadvantages are there. That is, the onset of drug action is slow, therefore not suitable during emergencies. Irritant and unpalatable drug cannot be administered by this route. Then the next one is the route may not be useful in presence of vomiting and diarrhea, cannot be used for uncooperative and uncautious patient. Certain drugs are not absorbed by this route. For example, streptomycin, drug absorbed from stomach and intestine have to pass through the liver and may get deactivated in the liver before reaching the required site of action. So these are the disadvantages of oral route. Then the next route is parenteral route of drug administration. So this refers to the this route refers to the administration by injection, which takes the drug directly into the tissue fluid or a bloodstream. So without having to cross the intestinal mucosa. So in this route you are taking the drug directly by injection, so that drug will directly go into your tissue fluid and your bloodstream. So this parenteral route means per means beyond and enteral means intestine. So you are directly transferring that drug, or you are directly transferring that drug into your bloodstream and your tissue fluid. So there is no case of deactivation of that drug like in oral route. So that oral route, that drug goes into intestine, then it go through your liver, so that drug may be deactivated. But in this, the drug will not deactivate here. So there are some advantages of this oral route of administration are there. So the action is faster and definite, suitable for emergency. So the action is very fast because that drug is directly goes into your bloodstream and it reaches where the action is required. So this, the action of this oral route, parenteral route of administration, very fast and definite and suitable during the emergency. So this is one of the best or one of the most important advantage of this parenteral route, because the action is very fast and definite where the action is required and suitable during the emergency. If emergency is there, so that time we can prefer this parenteral route of administration. The next point, next advantage is gastric irritation and vomiting are not provoked. So here in this case, this is the one of the advantages. So the gastric irritation and vomiting are not provoked because you are taking that drug directly into bloodstream and the tissue fluid. So the vomiting and irritation, gastric irritation are not happen in this parenteral route. Then then the third advantage is it can be employed even in uncautious, uncooperative and vomiting patient. So this parenteral route you can employ if the patient is uncautious, uncooperative and vomiting. So this is most important advantage of this oral route of administration. You can use this route, parenteral route, if the patient is uncautious, uncooperative and vomiting. So it's a very important advantage of this oral route, very important advantage of this parenteral route of administration. Then the next advantage is no change of interference by food or digestive juices and liver is, as the liver is bypass, because what you are taking the drug directly into your bloodstream and tissue fluid. So your drug directly reaches where the action is required. So that's why, so there is no interference by food or digestive juices, because your drug is not going to in your intestine or liver. So that's why this is one of the advantage. So because the liver is directly bypass, it directly bypass the liver. So this is the advantage. The image showing that this doctor is giving injection to this girl. Then the next point is the disadvantages of this parenteral route. So the first disadvantage is the preparation has to be sterilized. So So whatever the syringe or the injection you are using, or whatever the chemo, whatever the drugs you are using, first you have to sterilize that. So this is one of the disadvantage of this parenteral route. So the because the contamination may happen, and the side reaction may take place, or the side effect may take place. So before that, the preparation has to be sterilized. Without sterilize, you can't use that. So this is one of the disadvantages, that is preparation has to be sterilized. Then the second one is second disadvantage, it is costlier, because you know that the while you're taking the injection, it will cost around 100 to 200 rupees, and while in oral route you can take 2 or 3 rupees for tablet, and you can get you can feel better. So this route, the parenteral route, is costlier as compared to oral route. Then the next disadvantage is the technique is invasive, painful, and the assistance is required, because you are taking the injection. So that's why this technique is painful and the assistance is required. So you require one assistance to help you, because you can't take the some people are taking the injection singly, but some people, or some people require assistance to take the injection. So because it is painful and the assistance is required, so that this is one of the disadvantage of this parenteral route. Then the next point is last point is the chance of local tissue injury, and it risky at a time. So sometime what happened, the local tissue injured due to the while taking the injection, and sometime it is risky at a time. So this is the one image that the doctor is giving injection to this man, and you know that this man having pain. So that's why it is a painful. Then next point, the parenteral route includes the parenteral route includes intramuscular. So in intramuscular, the drug is directly injected into the skeletal muscle deeply. That is called as intramuscular, because in intramuscular you are taking the drug directly into the skeletal muscle deeply. Then subcutaneous route. So in subcutaneous route, you are taking the in subcutaneous injected directly, or injected through the layers of the the layer of the skin. Then or into the tissue below the skin, that is areolar tissue of the skin, or taking the drug, that is called as subcutaneous route, injected through the layer of the skin into the areolar tissue below the skin. Then third one is C is intravenous. So intravenous, you are injected directly into the vein. That's why it is called as intravenous. You are taking the injection directly into the veins. That's what is called as intravenous. Then intrathecal, so injected into the spinal fluid. That's what is called as intrathecal. You are taking the drug directly into the spinal fluid. Then the next one is intra-arterial. So in intra-arterial, you are taking the drug directly into the artery. That's what is called as intra-arterial. Then intracardiac. So here you can directly taking the drug into heart, into the cardiac. That is called as directly into the heart. That's what is called as intracardiac, because you are taking the drug into the heart. So in the heart, different parts are there. That is cardiac, artery, different parts are there. So you are taking the drug into heart. That is called as intracardiac. Then you are intracutaneous. So in intracutaneous, injected into the epidermis. So you are taking the drug directly into the epidermis. That is called as intracutaneous. Then this H1, that is intradermal. So intradermal means injected into the dermis. You are taking the drug directly into the dermis, or the injection directly inserted into the dermis. That's what is called as intradermal. Then intramedullary. So in intramedullary, you are taking the drug directly into the bone marrow. That's what is called as intramedullary. Then the last one is intraperitoneal. So in intraperitoneal, you are directly taking the drug into the peritoneum. That's what is called as intraperitoneum, or sorry, intraperitoneal. So this is the image. So when that injection is directly, or the syringe inserted directly into the muscle. So these are the different layers are there. That is, the first layer is called as epidermis, then this is your dermis, then subcutaneous tissue, then muscle. So when you are directly taking this injection, when this syringe inserted into the muscle, that is called as intramuscular. Then this is your subcutaneous, this injection you are inserting into the subcutaneous tissue, that's what is called as subcutaneous. Then this is your intravenous, so you are directly inserting that injection into the veins, that's what is called as intravenous. Then it is intradermal, because you are directly inserting that injection into the dermis, that's what is called as intradermal. So these are the images: intramuscular, subcutaneous, intravenous, and intraderm. How that how that doctor is handling, or how handling that injection when it inserted into the skin. So depending upon the different types are there: intramuscular, subcutaneous, intravenous, and intradermal. So this is about your when we are taking it. This is about intracardiac, because this doctor, the image shows that the doctor is directly inserting this syringe in heart, that's what is called as intracardiac. And here by nasal route it taking oxygen, or something is there, oxygen, I think oxygen is there, it's supplying oxygen. So this is all about the different, this is all about the parenteral route, include this intramuscular, subcutaneous, intravenous, intradermal. So this all include this all this type include in parenteral route. And thank you.